Before I switched to Wealthfront, my APY was probably 0.1, like it was a joke.
I was literally getting pennies. Once I switched to ching.
With the Wealthfront cash account, earn up to 4.2% APY on your cash.
The high APY with Wealthfront was a clear winner.
There are no petty fees.
Every month there's this much that I'm getting in interest and I didn't have to do anything. My money is working hard on its own and I can trust Wealthfront is taking care of me.
Earn more on your uninvested cash with a Wealthfront cash account. No account fees, no minimums, and no strings attached. Get started today at wealthfront.com. Clients were paid $1,000 for their testimonials, creating a conflict of interest. Outcomes vary. 3.3% base APY as of January 30th, 2026 is representative, variable, and earned on funds swept to program banks. 0.65% new client boost for 3 months on up to $150,000. Direct deposit $1,000 a month and fund an investing account for a 0.25% increase. Cash account offered by Wealthfront Brokerage LLC, member FINRA SIPC, not a bank. Fees and eligibility requirements may apply to certain checking features of the cash account.
Yeah, we're time for AM Minnesota. Boy, does time fly. It seems like just a few hours ago that Brad Phenow was in the studio, communications director for the City of Faribault, and he's back again.
Good to see you again, Gordy. Happy to be here.
So hopefully I didn't make things too painful yesterday.
Not at all. I'm here.
And you brought with you...
I brought with me Adam King, who is environmental specialist with the city, and heading up one of his many projects is the voluntary tree removal program that's continuing here in the second year. And he was also a champion for getting us a grant through the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources for a program called the Relief Program, which is a tree removal program and replacement, really, for trees here in the city, specifically for residents that meet the income qualifying threshold.
Well, Adam, welcome to AM Minnesota.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it very much. I was chatting a little bit before going on the air. You have a soil and water conservation district background.
Yeah, I worked for the Dodge Soil and Water Conservation District for about 10 years.
Enjoyed that?
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I was the manager down there, and I was commuting I live in Northfield.
Okay.
So commuting all the way down to Dodge Center got long after a while, and Faribault was a lot closer.
Yeah. How does this position differ from the one you were in?
Yeah, I was the manager down there before, and this one I'm the environmental coordinator, and so I'm getting out into the field a lot more and working with a lot of the contractors a lot more. Before I was managing a lot of staff and some of the programs.
So you were kind of a desk job before.
Yeah, yep, that's kind of is what the manager job ends up being after a while, and yeah, this gets me out into the field a lot more, working with the contractors, and yeah.
And I can tell by the smile on your face you enjoy that more.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, the ash trees are still dying all over the place. There are some just a couple blocks from here over by the Cathedral of Our Merciful Savior, and, I mean, they're dropping like flies.
Right, yeah. That was one of the things that I noticed when I came into town. I've been in the position for about a year now. And yeah, last summer I noticed a lot of ash trees, and I knew that the DNR had some funding for it. So when that funding, those grant applications became available and opened up, then I applied for them and yeah, really wanted to start trying to address that issue a little bit more.
Now, Brad, I'm sure you're very well aware, working with the city, grant writing is not easy.
It's not. No, in fact, a lot of
art to it.
There is an art to it. When I was running the Concerts in the Park series, that was a grant that we were doing every year for that. There's a lot of government entities that specifically have, a grant writer position, because there definitely is an art to it. And so, Adam was really able to successfully, take this grant and put it into action, and we're excited to see that. A little bit of background on the emerald ash borer in the community. Obviously, it's been wreaking havoc across the state and country for years. It was 2021 when it was first detected here locally in the city of Faribault. Really had been surrounded for a while, and likely was here before then, but that was the first time that we were actually physically able to detect it. Since then, the city has really taken, as much of a proactive approach as you can of taking down these ash trees on city-owned property in our parks and our various facilities, and has been replacing them when we can. But it was last year when the city really kind of got together with the department leadership and said, how can we approach this with not so much of a heavy hand, if you will, right? The city does have a true tree nuisance ordinance that deems diseased or dying trees a nuisance on private property and city property. But we also understand as a city entity and as humans, we understand that there's a large cost to remove these trees. And so the city said, how can we try and get ahead of this before these become even more of a problem? And that's where we launched that voluntary tree removal program last year, which was highly successful. We've seen some communities do it as well. And so we were fortunate to have a little bit of a framework to follow there. But last year we had, it was right around 200 trees removed. And it was about 180 property owners that submitted an application and were able to get their trees removed last year. So it was a great program. And really what I've been saying is it's backed by popular demand. So we're continuing that program in addition to launching this income specifically qualifying program, which is funded with the grant that Adam applied for.
So I don't know if you have in front of you, or maybe you have in front of you, Brad, what are the income guidelines?
Yeah, so the income guidelines, it's going to be based on household size and the income that the household makes. And so when we applied for the grant, we said it was going to be, and this is the first time I had dealt with it, income qualifications. And so we used the 80% of the area mean income, which I guess is a common way of using income qualifications. So yeah, it depends on the household size and the household income. And so for one person, if one person is out there on Social Security or something, it's going to be, if you make less than $60,350, then you would qualify for the program. For two people, it bumps it up to $68,950. For three people, like if it's a child and two young people, $77,550. And then a household of four, it bumps it up to $86,150.
And it's not, they don't get this free, right? It's assessed on their property taxes. They have to pay it over a year.
Two different programs. The voluntary tree removal program that we launched last year, that's the 5-year assessment program where the city will pay the upfront cost and then it's assessed to the individual property owners for 5 years. The relief program, which is through the grant that Adam applied, that is a free program.
Okay.
Yep. And so if you fall into those income qualifications, you're going to get your tree removed, the stump removed, and you're going to get another tree to plant.
You get your choice of trees?
And so we do have some. The DNR wants to see, right, they don't want this to happen again, right? There's a whole lot of dead ash trees in the town.
Well, you can say that again.
Yeah.
And so they don't want to see a whole lot of maples and that to happen again. Like if something should happen to another species, they don't want,
predominantly one species.
Right. And so yeah, there's species that we can't plant, which would be the maples. We can't plant the spruces. Obviously we can't plant ash, and we can't plant arborvitaes, like the white cedars. So we do have a list of trees that we can replace those with. It would be, a lot of the birches, blue beech. We have crab apples, the American elm. So that one is, I think, also the Princeton elm. It's Dutch elm resistant.
Why would you want a crab apple tree?
They're pretty.
They are very pretty.
In the spring,
at
least.
Pain in the you-know-what.
And I know there's a whole lot of robins in mine that come in every spring.
In my yard growing up, we had every tree imaginable on my parents' property. I'm not exaggerating. We had apple trees. We had crab apple trees. We had walnut trees. We had pine trees. You name it, the species was on our property.
I think the tree diversification is important, right? I mean, you look at the city of Faribault and some numbers have been thrown around that about a third of our tree canopy is ash trees. And obviously you're gonna recognize that when a disease comes through, such as emerald ash borer. So I think what Adam's getting at there with the DNR grant and the trees that you can select from is that's really what the DNR is pushing for, is that diversification.
I thought about planting a peach tree, but I don't know. You think we can grow peaches in Minnesota?
I've heard there's, some variants now that do well in Minnesota. But yeah, so possibly.
Well, it takes a while, for apples to take hold.
Yep.
The apples we had when I was a kid were not good eating apples, but they were great baking apples.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a fan of apple pie myself, so anytime. That's right.
Apple pie, apple crisp.
Yep.
Apple cobbler.
That's right.
Mom made it all.
And all of the income restrictions, or the income qualifying guidelines, rather, that Adam mentioned, along with the list and trees applications, all that is found right on the city website. So if you go right to faribaultmn.gov, on the homepage there, you scroll down, you'll see a picture of a diseased ash tree with evidence of an emerald ash borer larvae on there. You will be able to click on that, and that's going to take you right to the page that's got all the information you need. So we're also going to be doing some direct mailing and a little bit of canvassing, if you will. The city's working with Riverbend Nature Center on the grant to get out into the community. We know that not everyone's aware of emerald ash borer, and even if they are aware of it, they may not be aware that they have trees that are diseased that are going to become a problem over time.
Well, you can certainly tell when your tree's dead, right?
Yeah, a lot of times. And so, some people have some questions. And I know, like Brad said, we're partnering with Riverbend Nature Center, and they're going to be the ones doing a lot of the heavy lifting on it. They're going to be reaching out to those people that fill out the forms on the website, and some of the forms that you do fill out will be sent directly over to Riverbend, and they'll be following up with everyone.
Does this include Riverbend? They must have some ash trees.
They do have some ash trees. But nope, we're looking for more of the trees on the residential property.
Oh, okay. You said there were approximately 200. That's citywide, or was it in one particular quadrant of the city?
No, it was last year was right around 200, and the way it was bid out, and again, for a little bit more background, the non-income qualifying program, so the voluntary program where it will be assessed on the property or the property owner's taxes, the deadline to apply for that is July 15th, and that's intentional. I understand it's a little bit of a quick turnaround, but it's intentional, and it's because we want to get that work done. So once we get all of those applications in, the city will then bid that project out like we did last year, which was in 4 different quadrants. And we did that to make it more manageable for tree removal services, right? If we were to put out a bid that's, 200 trees total, that's a pretty tall task. So we bid it out in 4 different quadrants, so that it was more manageable for some of these tree removal services to get in on the project.
So did the one service get all 4 quadrants?
Ultimately, they did last year. Yeah. Like I said, we were intentional in breaking it so it was more manageable for tree trimming services of all sizes. But ultimately, yes, it did go to one company last year.
You see this happening, Adam, in other tree species?
As far as having
a program like this, or?
Yeah. And so, this program is for the dead and the dying trees, right? And so if you have a tree that you think is ugly in your yard, it's not going to qualify for that. But yeah.
So unless it's an ash tree, if you have something other than an ash tree dying, it doesn't qualify?
No, it does. So if you have a dead pine tree in your yard,
right,
that
there's
would
a lot of those too.
Yep. And so that would qualify. But if you have a tree that you just think is ugly and you don't want in your yard anymore, that one's probably not going to qualify.
No, it's got to be dying or dead.
Yes.
All right. We're going to get an opening market report here, a service of your KDHL Agri Boosters, and then we're going to come back and visit more about trees. What a woody subject when AM Minnesota continues.
Hogs after a nice run up yesterday.
The Linter Farm Network. Joining us, Jim Emter, Van Awning Company, Alexandria. Well, Jim, corn and soybean futures lower at this hour. What are you following?
Linda, in front of a long weekend, I think you just look around at weather. We've got a good precipitation forecast ahead, generally normal to below normal temperatures, and that just takes a little bit of risk off the market coming into this. Obviously, we're not that far away from the June 30th acres and stocks report either. And so, again, some hedging in front of that on this small, modest rally. But let's make no mistake, the expectations, and a lot of times when we get into these environments, they turn into buy the rumor, sell the facts. And right now, what's highlighted is, the anticipation that China bought some beans, possibly other grain commodities, and there's no question they did, Linda. In the private sales report this morning, we did get 132,000 metric ton of soybeans sold to China. Also 120,000 metric tons of soybeans to unknown. That's on top of the unknown purchase that was confirmed yesterday. We also got private sales of 285.775 thousand metric tons of corn to Mexico. So all these were great, but maybe markets just expecting more. So when you couple that with good weather, I think the risk-off approach is coming in front of this long weekend. Now, export sales were good today in corn, 1.157 million metric tons. That puts corn at 98.7% of USDA's percent of average. Typically this time of year, we're about 93.4. So there's no question we're running ahead of corn. Even in the bean market, we're about on pace, 96.4% of USDA's pace versus 97.2 is where we're typically at. So right on track here. And the net sales in beans this morning were 424.9. So little risk off in front of the long weekend, Linda. We'll see if it sticks, and we'll see where we go next week. Obviously, the Iran front, coupled with the weather and coupled with demand, are the big features here working into next week.
And a little lower on the cattle and lean hogs, a little lower too. What's going on there?
Well, and I think when we look at these markets, Linda, there's kind of a risk-off tied to the Fed decision yesterday. Obviously, a no-rate change, but kind of a hawkish tone, concerned about inflation. The dot plot basically indicated that over half or near half of the chairs are expecting a rate increase time ahead. So I just think in general, commodities are taking the brunt of the sell pressure here today, and it stems in the meat markets here as well. We've had a nice rally up, but we're not doing any chart damage yet, but the cattle market maybe just taking a pause in front of this long weekend as well.
Jim Emter, Van Company, Alexandria. July corn 417 down 4, December 444 and a quarter down 4.5. July soybeans 11.24 3/4 down 7 1/4. November 11.43.5 down 5 3/4. July soybean meal down 3.80. July soybean oil down 2.06. September Minneapolis wheat up 3 1/4. June live cattle down 72. August down 110. August feeder cattle down 125. July lean hogs down 5, October down 25, the Dow up 442. This is a Linder Farm Network.
Looking for heavy equipment but don't know where to buy? Purple Wave Auction has you covered. Always online and always no reserve. It's your destination for construction or ag equipment ready to work. We even sell semis, trailers, and fleet equipment for your operation. Best part? It's free to join. Head to purplewave.com. That's purplewave.com. Sign up for a free account and start bidding today. Purple Wave Auction, the easiest and most straightforward way to buy and sell equipment.
Hertz Farm Management of Mankato, Minnesota is pleased to offer 120 acres of land for sale located in Otisco Township, Waseca County, northeast of Otisco, Minnesota. This property has 31.17 tillable acres, 2 building rights, 45.50 CRP acres with contract payments, and hunting recreation with the Little Lasua River running through. For more information, visit our website at hertz.ag or call Hertz Farm Management in Mankato at 507-345-LAND. That's 507-345-5263.
That's an update on the Linder Farm Network.
AM Minnesota on the mighty 920 KDHL.
We're talking trees today, and the City of Faribault is removing ash trees because they are dying like crazy. Of course, I saw this too late. I don't know if I'd qualify for the program anyway. The replacement of ash trees. After I tore it down, I was looking on the city's website one day, and I saw this tree program. And I thought, gee, why didn't I see this before I did that? But anyway, I was just chatting with a gentleman about what kind of a tree I'm going to put in my front yard. And, of course, one thing that I find interesting, gentlemen, and you can both weigh in on this, are the number of trees that are in the boulevards. Some cities don't allow that, but we allow it here in Faribault, evidently.
We do, and the city has done boulevard tree programs in the past where we've worked with property owners to get them in. Obviously, it's a neat aspect to some towns, right?
Does it help keep snow off the sidewalks kind of thing?
I certainly think that's an aspect to it as well, but I also think it's an appearance, right? You look down 7th Street or you look up 2nd, and it's kind of neat to see those trees on there. It adds a little bit of a nice appearance there, and you're right, a lot of communities don't. But I think it's become a little bit of a staple here in Faribault of being able to see that and provide some shade to the community. Which obviously has its benefits as well. So the city has done, like I said, boulevard tree programs in the past through the Parks and Recreation Department. Not aware of one currently ongoing.
But now, correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, but the boulevard is actually city property.
Correct. That would be within the right-of-way.
That's not my property.
No, but
I mow it, I take care of it, but it's not mine.
Correct. It is your responsibility to provide the maintenance. Correct.
So then do I get a free tree on the boulevard?
When the boulevard program was going on, this was a handful of years ago when I was still officed in the Parks and Rec office. Yes, it was a free program to replace them. Like I said, not aware of a program of that going on, but if that's something that the community is interested, obviously always reach out. We're here to take ideas and to hear from the residents, and we're always open to things like that if that's what the community desires.
Yeah, Adam, didn't you say you grew up in the La Crosse area?
Yeah, I did.
Did they allow trees on the boulevards?
So I didn't grow up in the city. I grew up just outside of the city. And so, yeah, they did. And, yeah, there's boulevard trees in La Crosse as well.
Yep. Are they beneficial? Or?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can see, right when it starts raining, there's not going to be it's going to be dry underneath the tree, right? So there is a lot of stormwater benefits associated with those trees and some of the volume reduction. And so not all the water will just go rushing straight down into the storm sewer right away.
And obviously you're not going to plant the tree where you got to get to any piping or anything that's going into the house, right?
Yeah, generally, I mean, those service lines are going to be, easily identifiable by our staff that, know where to look within the utilities division, and those are avoided at all costs. And, that's with this tree program that we're talking about here today, both the income qualifying and the voluntary tree removal. With every application that comes in, we send out a staff member that's a certified tree expert, if you will. I think there's a formal certification title with that. But we go out and measure the tree, mark the tree, pay attention to the surroundings to see if there's any obstacles or things like that are going to add to the cost of that tree removal. Just so that when we can, get the folks connected with the contractor or put the project out to bid, that, they're aware of everything that's involved with the tree removal for that specific tree. So, like I said, when you fill out the application, that's really the starting point. From there is when city staff go out and do an inspection, take a look at it, and then, assuming people want to maintain and continue on with the program is when generally they're going to get back in touch with folks at Public Works and sign what's called a consent and waiver form, which gives the city permission to assess that cost back onto their property taxes.
Again, on AM Minnesota Today, the voice you just heard was Adam Brad Phenow. He is the Communications Director for the City of Faribault. Adam Ring is the Environmental and Water Resources Coordinator. So what other things do you do in your capacity?
So mine is, I do a whole lot with the MS4 program, which is the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. And so, yeah, we have a separate storm sewer system, a system separate from the sanitary, right? And so a lot of times people don't realize that storm water that goes into the storm sewer goes straight into the river. It goes into the Straight River or the Cannon River without being treated. And so I go and I do that program, the Pollution Control Agency.
So when I mow my boulevard,
yes,
I shouldn't have the mower shooting the grass into the street.
No, you shouldn't.
Because it'll end up in the sewer.
Yep. And then it'll end up in the lakes or the rivers and the streams. And, yeah, there's a lot of nutrients in those grass clippings, right? Because you fertilize and those grass clippings have a lot of nutrients in them. So it sends the nutrients out into the stream and into the lakes, and that can cause some algae blooms, right? Because algae needs nutrients as well, and that's where they're getting it from.
I'm going to start shooting the opposite way.
Absolutely. Or if you're quick, once you do shoot it in the road, go out there with a leaf blower and blow it right back into the grass. Get it out of that storm gutter.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's a good thing to know. I'm sure a lot of people are doing what I did.
Yeah, it's something Adam's always working on, educating homeowners, and, he's a regular, contributor to various media publications trying to educate folks, and being here today, it's an opportunity for us to continue that education for folks, because it's not common knowledge as much as we want to think it is or hope it is. The city's taking a proactive approach and really trying to say, listen, this is ways you can pitch in to make an impact.
One thing I've noticed that's making kind of a comeback are rain barrels.
Yeah, yep. So instead of just sending that water, into the street and then down into the sewer, a lot of people are saving it, right? So then you don't have to turn on your hose and buy the city's water. You can kind of save up your own.
Mother Nature's water is better than, no offense to the city, but it's better than the city's water.
In terms of nutrients, in terms of drinking, I think I would disagree, but for sure.
Right, no, I'm not talking about the drinking.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Storm gutters are great. They're a great way to reuse Mother Nature's gift to us, and a great way to again pitch in and make your impact. Many hands make light work, right?
It's a good way to water your garden.
It is, absolutely.
And it'll be much more beneficial than the hose water.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is what I'm guessing. I don't know that for a fact.
Yep. Yeah, all the water that comes into all the houses and everything goes through the water treatment plant, making sure there's no bacteria or anything in it. But your garden doesn't need all those.
In fact, it probably would thrive without all that.
Yep.
I'm guessing.
Yep.
So I've just got a couple minutes left in the show. Anything else you want to get the word out on today, Brad?
We're every second Wednesday of every month. We are continuing with our community engagement program called Council Chats. It's a great opportunity for members of the community to.
Has this been a council chat?
This program has not. No, it has not. This last month we were at Buckham West, the senior center, and
I think you're at the airport next month.
We are. Yep. Last month we brought in our public advisors from Ellers, which is our kind of economic development advisors that help us with our tax increment financing and tax abatement, and they provided a really good overview of what those economic tools are, and how we use them, and really felt
a good crowd.
Yeah, we did. We had close to, with the presenters, we were just over 50 people, so we had a really good crowd. We were very impressed with that. And we recorded it, so that video will be going up on the city's YouTube. It's on FCTV's YouTube right now. But a really great program, and you're correct. This next month, we will be at the Faribault Municipal Airport, which
was a year ago too. I went to that one.
Yep, absolutely. It's a really neat aspect of the city that not many people are aware of. Right? It's an area of the community that perhaps isn't the most visible in terms of it's kind of on the outskirts of city limits, if you will. So unless people are traveling that way, they aren't necessarily aware of it. But it's a busy place. And it's also getting some construction, infrastructure work done on the East Lane taxiway.
Well, the number of businesses that it's hosting is, for a city our size, a lot.
Absolutely, yeah. There's 5 businesses out there, so it's a great opportunity for folks to come out and learn a little bit more about that facility, what it means to the community, how it's funded, and it's a great opportunity for people to learn. Every month, these council chats, every month we're doing a new topic at a different facility, and we're always looking for more topics. So if there's folks in the community that want to learn specifically more about something the city does or why it does it, we're all ears, and we'll get it on the schedule. So feel free to reach out to me at the city, and we'll get that lined up.
Yeah, maybe you ought to do a tree planting one.
We will. It's going to be tough with the timelines, just because that voluntary tree removal program, the deadline for that is July 15th. The deadline for the income qualifying one is September 30th or until the grant funds are exhausted. So if you're interested in getting trees removed, head over to the city website and get those applications in sooner than later.
All right. Sounds good to me. I hope it was painless for you there, Adam.
Yeah. No, thanks for having us on.
Yeah, no problem. Absolutely. I've got about a minute left in the show. Anything you want to get the word out on?
No, I think Brad covered, a lot of everything that we're doing right now. Like you said, for the income qualified program, it's first come, first serve. And we already got, some people have already signed up. So we got 24 or so trees.
Is it a simple form?
Yeah, it's a pretty simple form. And you just kind of fill it out. If you give me a call or if you give Kate Ford over at Riverbend Nature Center a call, we can go through the form with you real quick and get that filled out and get you on the list.
All right. Sounds good. Folks, take advantage of that. It's not every day of the week you get offered that.
It's a great program, and like I said, it's backed by popular demand. We saw the success of it last year and are just building upon it with the income qualifying this year thanks to the grant from the DNR.
Yeah, let's hope the disease does not hit my maple that I planted here within the last couple of years. That's the hope, that's the dream, the desire. Tomorrow, we go to the Kenyon Sportsman's Club. They're celebrating their 50th anniversary this Saturday. I'll be on the road for AM Minnesota at the Kenyon Sportsman's Club tomorrow. Have a super rest of the day.
Before I switched to Wealthfront, my APY was probably 0.1. Like, it was a joke.
I was literally getting pennies. Once I switched to ching.
With the Wealthfront Cash Account, earn up to 4.2% APY on your cash.
The high APY with Wealthfront was a clear winner.
There are no petty fees.
Every month, there's this much that I'm getting in interest, and I didn't have to do anything. My money is working hard on its own, and I can trust Wealthfront is taking care of me.
Earn more on your uninvested cash with a Wealthfront Cash Account. No account fees, no minimums, and no strings attached. Get started today at wealthfront.com. Clients were paid $1,000 for their testimonials, creating a conflict of interest. Outcomes vary. 3.3% base APY as of January 30th, 2026 is representative, variable, and earned on funds swept to program banks. 0.65% new client boost for 3 months on up to $150,000. Direct deposit $1,000 a month and fund an investing account for a 0.25% increase. Cash account offered by Wealthfront Brokerage LLC, member FINRA SIPC, not a bank. Fees and eligibility requirements may apply to certain checking features of the cash account.
Today on the pod, we're talking to Joan, a method actor and scratchers enthusiast. So, Joan, what do you like about playing scratchers?
Well, as a method actor, it's about becoming the ticket. Scratching up, down, stage left, stage right.
So what's your motivation? Because your performance feels so real.
Oh, I was just tapping into my inner scratchers.
Incredible.
Yes. Bravo me.
Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase player claim.